Good afternoon from London. My name's Hina, and I am coming to you from the Master Shah Dow Center here in London. And today, it's actually been a very pleasant, sunny day most of the day today. So, welcome to sunny London. Welcome to the Master Shah Dow Center. So, today we have a very, very special guest for you. This weekend, the London Centre is holding an Open Spiritual Channels workshop, August 13th to the 17th. So if you haven't registered, please register. I'll tell you why in just a little bit, but definitely keep that in mind. So my very super special guest for today is Certified Master Teacher of the Tao Academy, Lynne Nusyana. So Lynne, if you can please come on. Hi, hi, Lynne. It is so nice and special to have you for this Facebook Live today. Now, one of the reasons why I really wanted Lynne to come on the Facebook Live today, especially because we're having an open spiritual workshops this coming weekend, is because open spiritual channels helps in every aspect of life. And Lynne is perfect because she actually wrote a book, which is this book right here, Bringing Spiritual Wisdom to Your Daily Work. Now, most of us spend a large majority of our days at work. And sometimes when we're at home, we're still working or thinking about work. So Lynne, can you tell us how you use your open spiritual channels for your work during business or with some of your patients in psychology?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be very happy to. I'll just share with you a little bit of a background. 2003 now, I met our Dr. and Master Jigang Shah. And in the first half hour of his presentation, he started talking about soul communication. And I was just mesmerized because I had always been interested in soul communication, spiritual communication, but I thought it was very out of reach. And at the time, I was working in both the corporate world as a management consultant, and I was also working, I had a private practice as a psychotherapist. So, and I also did a lot of healing work, energy healing work as well. So when Master Shah started talking about soul communication, he said that soul communication is the ability to communicate with all souls, to both hear from them and then to be able to share with other souls. But the important thing that he said is that it is the potential within each and every soul. In other words, it's not a special, unique kind of skill that only a few people have, but in fact, it's something that we can all do. But we have to learn how to open our channels so that we can use that, we call it the soul potential, to communicate. So right away within that first half hour, Master Shah started to share with us about soul language. And soul language is the number one, I would say, first channel, because every soul has its own specific language or very unique language. And once we align ourselves with that, we can then use it in every aspect of our life. So I was like fascinated to bring out my soul language and then to learn how I could use it. So that happened very quickly. And at the time, I was working in a very big corporation here, a sort of a government corporation. It was called a Crown Corporation. And we were doing a lot of change, organizational change work. And so I attended lots of meetings, and a lot of them were very contentious. And it was difficult sometimes to get results at these meetings or to reach the objectives or goals of the meeting because there was so much mind chatter going on. So once I opened my soul language channel and I was able to connect with every other soul, before I went into the meeting, I would connect with all the souls that were coming. Could be a project meeting, could be a leadership meeting, any kind of a meeting. And then once we got into the meeting, I introduced myself, connected with them, talked about from at a soul level, wanting to have a productive meeting. And then when I went into the meeting, silently, I would continue to connect in this way. What a huge difference this made. It was It really helped the meetings progress. They felt different. People commented on it. So this was one very specific and very useful way, I would say, to use soul communication, is to communicate at the soul level, which helped to really calm, I would say, the mind chatter that was going on. And I also used it and continue to use it now one-on-one with my counseling clients, of which I still see many people. And I use my soul communication in those sessions with people to help bring things really to a deeper level, to bring things to the soul level. So it has been an incredible gift for my life. And I believe it's been an incredible gift for those that have participated with me through our working relationship. So I really value it. And this book, Bringing Spiritual Wisdom to Your Daily Work, that I flowed some years ago, talks about the power of soul communication. So I really am happy to talk about it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Actually, it was when I heard your story, when you spoke about how you use your channels and soul communication in your everyday work for corporate, for counseling, for healing. There really is no limits to how you can use this communication. And what I realized is that you inspired me to start doing this for my work as well. When I'm dealing with my colleagues, sometimes if I'm dealing with the patient, and there's certain things you can't directly tell people.
Sure.
So you really inspired me to start communicating on a soul level, and not just to when I'm doing my spiritual practices or when I'm speaking to my spiritual teachers, but when I'm speaking to everybody, my husband, my boss, my supervisor, my family. It really is limitless, and it's so effective, because I used to be the type of person where I was very, no, we need to talk about it. We need to actually sit and physically hash it out, or let's figure out a solution. And it could go either way. It just depends on the receptivity of the other person. But doing soul communication makes it so much more effective. So when you are ready to have a physical conversation, it goes so much more smoother. You understand each other and resolutions are found. Or at certain times, you don't even need to have that physical conversation because things get resolved on its own. So I love soul communication. Lynne is also one of the main teachers of the Tao Soul Communicator course by Tao Academy. So that's the second level opening your spiritual channels course. It's a lot more in depth, and it's a lot more intense as far as the training. So Lynne is actually expert level. So I also have a second guest, which we're gonna add. First, let me bring on Karen. Karen, why don't you come on? Okay, hi Karen, how are you? I hope your internet is a little bit working today, working better than it was earlier. So the reason I brought on Karen is because she has an amazing story. Karen was born with legs that were basically two different heights. So her whole life, over 40 years, she always had one leg longer than the other. So she'd literally be imbalanced. And then, then the whole cascade of other issues starts, where you get hip pain, and it just starts affecting every part of your body. And after 40 years of this issue, her and her younger sister have a similar issue. Karen got a correction by one of the master teachers from the Tao Academy. And just by correcting one little stroke, when Karen was writing a calligraphy, her legs basically are even now. They're the same length. And something that was having such an ill effect on most of her life was solved within a few seconds by a teacher empowered by Master Sha. So that's why that story is just amazing. Is Karen's internet working, or? Okay, so unfortunately, I'm not sure if Karen's internet is working well enough. But basically, I told you her story. And so Karen has an amazing story. So her legs were realigned, and before we went live, so Lynne, because she's so expert level, she has access to a very high level of very accurate and deep information. So one of the questions Karen had, I'll just ask for Karen now,
Sure.
related to this leg correction. She's still. What was your question?
She has pain, I think.
She has pain and okay, so physically her legs are aligned, but she has some residual pain because of over 40, 45 years of compensating her whole body and her body muscles. That's right, her body muscles. Now the doctors have told her that her nerves and her muscles are readjusting. So she's still going through some residual pain. And even though physically she's aligned, because of that residual pain and the side effects of her muscles and nerves, she wanted to know what is the best spiritual practice to help exhilarate that healing.
Well, I think the best practice always is to, to chant with the treasures that you have received, because she's received some gifts, I know, that have helped her besides the calligraphy. So that will help. And the second thing is, we all do a lot of forgiveness practice, and that's something that we do no matter what. One of the reasons for that is, that we have like a body memory. And it's like, people always say, well, why do I have to keep going to the chiropractor? One adjustment should do it. It's because the body has a memory and it wants to go back to the way it was. And it's the same for her. Her body has a memory, and also her soul has a memory. It wants to go back to this place where it was. So she's constantly kind of resisting that. And that in itself can cause, kind of inner, we'll call it, dissension that's going on. And so she needs to remember always to do practice, because we receive a healing, which is wonderful. We still have to participate by doing our part. And so doing more practice with the treasure she has, and also doing forgiveness for perhaps there's reasons, from the negative information that she carried, that is still, let's say, echoing out there in her physical body and as part of her soul journey. So the practice is really key.
Oh, that's amazing. And see, having open spiritual channels is so important, because Lynne knew exactly what are the specific practices that Karen needs to focus on to exhilarate her healing, which is forgiveness practice, calling on the treasures she received for this healing, and to continue practicing, because that's really, really big. Now, Lynne, I just had a really quick question for you regarding your book, because I opened it up to a page that said working from home.
Oh, yeah.
So there are some employers who prefer their employees to work from home, and some employees have, and especially with COVID. So it's so relevant with what's happening with COVID these days. So a lot more people are working from home because of the situation that we're all living in. And even though in London lockdown has basically eased off more or less, there's still a lot of companies who have now given their employees a choice whether to come and work in the office or work at home, and other companies who have continued to allow their employees to work at home. So in this book, can you tell us your practice that you taught about all the employees or people who own their own business who work from home?
Well, we work from home, but we're still working virtually, just like you and I are right now. So in a way, it's kind of more intimate, I find, because, when I had meetings with people, it was usually at a big table someplace, but, here we are on Zoom or whatever we're on. So it's really pretty intimate. So that's one thing that I think people are now getting used to, and they might feel, at a greater distance when they go into the workplace, but they still miss that, going at the social contact. But what I find with this kind of work, working online and not going into the workplace, that we still have to connect with, we'll call it the heart and soul of the organizations that we are working for or with, our customers, our clients, the organization that we work for. Some of us have our own businesses, some of us work for other organizations. And everything has, this is one of the first teachings I ever heard from Master Sha, is that everything and everyone has a soul. So in the book, that's what we speak to really, is to connect with the soul of the business, whether you're physically in the building or you're driving to the building. There's a building, but there's also the organization itself, which has a soul. So you connect with the soul of the organization, connect with the soul of the clients that you're going to speak to, or the customers that you want to serve. So it's about using your soul communication tools to really have this deeper contact with everyone and everything, your fellow workers, even the technology, like the technology we're using now. There's also soul within each of these, we'll call them very useful instruments of technology, our iPhones or computers. So everything has a soul, and we do speak to that in the book as well. So the more that we can have a deeper connection, first of all, we acknowledge, and then we have a deeper connection, and it will become part of your routine to connect to the soul of the business every day, to connect with the soul of your customers. I just was working with someone earlier today, and this person is a very good professional. She's a server as well. She does very good work. And this is one of the things that we talk about quite often, is how we can better serve our clients by connecting with them at the soul level. So those are the kind of things that I would recommend that people do. And now we have this great opportunity, that we're working so-called virtually, and to really have that connection. Because I find, and I'm observing it with other people, it tends to loosen people up. We get used to being in this virtual environment. People are sitting there in their pajamas or whatever they're doing, or they're Zooming from their bedrooms. It's a different experience, but we're still working, right? So we connect with the souls of the people we're going to meet on Zoom that day. And so remember always that through soul communication, we can make that connection, and that will improve our experience and the experience of the people that we're working with.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I know when I learned soul communication at my first Open Spiritual Channels workshop, it really, really made quite a profound effect on me. And it's just amazing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lynne, for taking your time to talk to us, to inspire us to use our channels more, to use soul communication more. And this amazing book, which this is such a great book. And I just love listening to Lynne and how she uses her Open Spiritual Channels for every aspect of life, whether it was when she was working in a corporate environment, a counseling environment, or just healing environment. And it's just amazing that how much basically we can use soul communication for every aspect of life. There really are no limitations.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
You mentioned healing, and I didn't really speak about that enough. But those of us that do healing work, everybody has the ability to heal. And so when we open our spiritual channels, it really wakes up, we will say, that potential within each one of us. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So everyone who's watching, and even those who are not watching, please share this video, share it to people who might be interested in opening their channels, and even those who are maybe not interested in opening their channels, because what you learn here from Master Sha's techniques and wisdom is how to communicate with everything. As Lynne had mentioned, it's just not other people, it's the souls of businesses, it's the souls of books, it's the souls of basically technology, your phone. There are literally no limitations to what you can communicate with your lost car keys, with your lost car. Sometimes I park and I forget where I parked. So there really are no limitations to where you can use this type of skill. Join us at the Master Sha Dao Center in London this August 13th to 17th. We are having an Open Spiritual Channels workshop, and that's really the first step in learning techniques and practices to help open up your channels and to gain that understanding and access to information. Now, this workshop is super, super special because it's not only the workshop you're getting, you're also going to be receiving not one, not two, but three golden Dow light bulbs and golden liquid springs included in this workshop, and a minimum of 5 Dow calligraphy healing field sessions. So this workshop, you will get more than what you think you will. Open your mind, open your hearts. If you feel a calling to have better communication with those people in your physical life and basically your work, your colleagues, your kids, your grandkids, please join us. The Master Dow Center in London would love to serve you. So thank you so much, and we will see each other very, very soon. Goodbye.